I'm sure you know this by now, but Tesla is unarguably unlike any other automaker in the world. Not only is it the company that really started the electric car revolution by building its two-seat Roadster, a car that was everything that electric cars weren't at the time, but it also managed to light a fire under the collective butts of mainstream automakers who had initially scoffed at the promise of bringing desirable, fast, long-range electric cars to market. And of course, it's also the first new automaker for more than 100 years to become a profitable entity and survive the tumultuous waters of life as a startup. It's disruptive. It's challenged the standard automotive auto dealer business model. It has high brand loyalty among its customers, and it's now the most valuable automaker in the world by market cap, despite making a fraction of the number of cars that legacy automakers do every year. It's for those reasons that, in many circles, we in the electric car world lean in to the habit of putting Tesla on a pedestal. And as the person who led Tesla from its early days to the company it is today, Elon Musk gets put on an even bigger one. When you question someone on a pedestal, you are bound to get a lot of kickback. And so today, that is what we are expecting here, because we're going to explain why, in our opinion, Elon Musk is wrong about something. Specifically about the notion that Tesla doesn't need a PR department. You see, while Tesla did have one until sometime last year, it has existed for nearly a year without one, and many in the industry would argue a good few years before that without an actual functional PR team. In light of the recent crash in Texas involving a Model S that may or may not have been operating with somebody at the wheel or not that caught fire, killing 2 people, and in light of ongoing problems at Tesla's Giga Berlin, and many things stated by Elon Musk on Twitter, some members of the automotive press and electric car press, and yes, even Tesla customers and investors have asked Elon Musk recently to reinstate Tesla's PR department. Yet, in response, on Twitter last week, Elon Musk resolutely said no, stating, quote, "Other companies spend money on advertising and manipulating public opinion. Tesla focuses on the product. I trust the people." End quote. We, and many others in this industry, think this is the wrong decision to make. So we're going there. We're going to explain what a PR department is, why Elon may be distrustful of them and the media, and explain why right now Tesla is in a dangerous space where it needs a PR department more than it has at any point in its history. Strap in. It's going to get bumpy. Today, let's start with the discussion of what a PR department has traditionally been used for, and explain why, as a member of the automotive media, I find them really useful. The name PR is short for public relations, and its primary job is to help ensure that the company is well thought of and well represented in the public sphere. They help ensure that publicity around the company is positive, not negative, and they keep the press, and thus the public, informed about what is actually going on. They field questions from the media about the company. They provide official B-roll media and photographs, and they help journalists accurately cover what's going on. They also keep an eye on the internet to make sure that anything that's unfair or inaccurate in the public domain is dealt with and that negative publicity is handled appropriately. But they're also essential when it comes to a breaking news story. Take the Chevrolet Bolt EV fire that happened over the weekend in Virginia, USA. I was able to reach out to the Chevrolet PR department immediately for a statement, and I was able to get a response within about 20 minutes. In cases like this, it means that not only do journalists get accurate first-hand information, but they also have a way of reaching out to the company to get updates and clarification when they need it and they're working on a deadline. In the end, this means that not only is the story more comprehensive and accurate, but that the company being covered knows that it's less likely that it will need to do cleanup or corrections later on. But PR departments aren't just passive. If a member of the media says something that's blatantly inaccurate, it is the PR department that reaches out with a correction. And frankly, it's no coincidence that people who handle PR for companies are often former members of the press. Why? Well, because a PR specialist who was once a member of the media usually does a far better job than someone who's never worked in the press. Former media PR teams understand what journalists want to know. They can anticipate, and they know how journalists work. It's a bit like a poacher becoming a gamekeeper. They know how poachers operate, and thus they are more readily prepared to be a good gamekeeper. Tesla's reluctance to speak to members of press in recent years and its blatant ignoring of questions relating to breaking news stories means that whenever a news story breaks involving Tesla, it is almost impossible to get a straight answer from the company. Elon Musk famously hates dealing with the press and straight up ignores the majority of journalists online when they ask questions via Twitter, unless they're a Tesla owner. When Elon is known for making grandiose statements concerning all of his companies using the platform, as well as posting memes and clickbait, well, then we have a problem. This is perhaps no better illustrated than Elon's now infamous going private at 420 tweet. You know, the tweet that got Elon into a lot of hot water with the SEC and resulted in him stepping down as chairman of the board of directors of Tesla. It also came with a demand from the SEC that Elon changed how he used Twitter, running tweets from his personal account that are involved with Tesla through an internal review process to make sure that nothing like the 420 incident happens again. Traditionally, a PR department would be the team to deal with this. PR teams work with the CEO and the board of directors to plan official announcements and make sure that nothing is said publicly that would later cause a problem for the firm. Without a PR department, there's nobody for Elon to run such tweets by. And with my skeptical hat on, I think that might be one of the reasons he's so reticent to have a PR department again. To be clear though, I'm not 100% sure that this is what's going on, but well, if I had a choice between working with someone I knew would restrict what I said and did versus not having them around to work with, then I'm going to be honest, I'd probably lean in like Elon is doing. But then I'm not running a multinational billion-dollar company. And when a company gets to the size and influence of Tesla, homogeneity of branding, image, and response is essential. Right now, Tesla has none of that. Sure, it did recently hire someone to help respond to Elon's tweets, but one person does not an official PR department make. And yes, Elon is probably one of the more public-facing CEOs out there, but to be frank, some of the ups and downs that have followed Tesla's share prices have been directly related to things Elon has said on Twitter, from his distrust of COVID precautionary measures to his thoughts on pronoun use, his promises for Tesla Autopilot, and so much more. If there was a clear delineation between his personal tweets and those relating to the company, it would be less troublesome. But everyone knows Tesla is Elon and Elon is Tesla and SpaceX and Neuralink and the Boring Company. And he has eyeballs. He has influence. But with great power comes great responsibility. And yeah, I feel it too. We recently hired a social media manager to ensure that this channel and the content we produce is well represented. I've been working very hard as well to make my personal Twitter account my personal Twitter account. But again, I'm the face of the company and it's sometimes hard to split me apart from the brand I've built. I'm doing it because I know how important it is to do it, because at the end of the day, I can't be 100% work 100% of the time. I need a non-work related outlet just like everyone else, and there are things that I say on my personal Twitter that aren't representative of the company I run. In recent weeks, we've seen time and time again moments when Tesla really could have used a PR team. Every time a Tesla crashes, an autopilot is immediately suspected. A PR department could have helped answer press questions, make official statements, and make it extremely clear what did or didn't happen, especially if media reporting was inaccurate. The recent crash in Texas involving a Model S was a nightmare to report because there wasn't a single source of official information and rumours were being passed off as official statements. The same is true for Tesla's recent price hike for Tesla Solar Roof customers. Had Tesla made an official statement at the time it reached out to customers to tell them that they would have to pay more to get their roofs, things would have gone a whole lot more smoothly. And again, as it was, negative press abounded because there wasn't anyone to reach out to and say, hey, what's going on? Had the media been given a chance to ask questions, it would have resulted in less inaccurate reporting and a much clearer representation for everyone. I get it. Elon hates the media and mistrusts many outlets, including this one. But at the end of the day, media outlets have a duty to get to the bottom of the story, and when a company involved doesn't respond to media requests or clarify things, it becomes a real nightmare. Then there are the basic things that PR teams do that we don't have from Tesla because it doesn't have a PR department. When a new car launches, most automakers issue a press release with all of the details of the vehicle carefully laid out for members of the press to use when preparing their reports. Everything from the vehicle weight to its turning circle and its cargo capacity is provided. And when there's a question that needs answering that isn't on the list, well, the PR department is there to get the question answered by the right person, usually a really knowledgeable engineer within the company who knows exactly what the right answer is. Tesla doesn't do that. Nor does it provide B-roll footage or even images for official press use. And again, that causes problems because without official footage or images, it is almost impossible to cover the company effectively. And it normally means journalists are left scraping things together, which at the end of the day, frankly doesn't represent Tesla very well. Finally, we should look to Apple and its similarities to Tesla. Like Tesla, Apple for many years had a larger-than-life CEO who similarly distrusted the media. It suffered without Steve Jobs during the 1990s, and when he returned to Apple as CEO, the company experienced a second golden disruptive age. But when Jobs fell ill with cancer, this company fell into its own identity crisis. I was covering Apple at the time. Because it heavily relied on Jobs, Apple struggled for a while to find its feet. And well, while I'm sure Elon Musk is going nowhere at Tesla for many years, there's a future where he won't be CEO, where he won't be calling the shots or answering questions. Hopefully that won't happen for a really long time, but right now, Tesla isn't prepared for life without Elon. And a PR team, well, it might just help prepare in case that were to happen. That's it for today. As always, thanks to the folks on my right for being our $15 to $49 a month Patreon supporters. Special thanks to our $50 a month patrons, that's Anonymous Freak, Regine Fellows, Gordon C, Paul Conway, Laura Sanborn, Anthony Coates, Denny Hyde, Sean Ueda and Tesla in the Gong. And our deepest gratitude to our $100 a month Patreon supporters. That's John Lyons, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, JP Fagerback, Will Graylin and Ian. If you would like to join the ranks of amazing, wonderful Patreon supporters, you'll find links below to Patreon, Bitcoin and Ko-fi. You can chat with the team and TE fans over at Discord, and if you'd just like to buy some TE swag, point yourself over to our Redbubble store. Thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving.